Love Blinded by James Ross. Dedicated to AG, the one that got away. Love is like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Chapter 1. Not for the first time, Darren Gibson, known locally as Gibbo, was being placed under arrest. His wife and son watched on as he fought tooth and nail against the two arresting officers who tried to get him into the back of the police car, with a backdrop of cheers, boos and laughter coming from the different spectators, including neighbours and passers-by. Gibbo's only son, Jacob, at 15 years old, had seen this scene play out in front of him a handful of times, and each time he was less shocked and scared than before, until eventually he gave up caring at all. Things would return to normal soon enough, he thought, as he sat down on the front step outside the terraced house on the council estate. His dad would be gone for a few months, maybe a year, then he would be released to restart the constant drinking and shouting in the front room of the house that Jake called home, until he fell short of money once more, and had to go out and break the law to refill his wallet. It was how life was, how it had always been. The two police officers looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief as they had finally locked Gibbo's wrists together and shut him in the back of the car. One of the officers paused a moment to catch his breath before they both climbed into the front of the vehicle, one of the estate's most prolific career criminals safely trapped behind them. "Come back inside now, darling," said Mrs. Gibson. "It'll be tea time soon." Darren stood as he watched the police car drive off. He turned to his mum, who stood in the doorway smoking a cigarette. "Nah, Mum," he replied. "I think I'll go for a little walk and see who's at the park." "Okay, darling, but don't stay out too long. Make sure you're back by the time your dad is home." The teenager shook his head in disbelief as he watched his mum close the door between them. "I could come back next week and he wouldn't be here, Mum," he said, as he walked along the short pathway to the end of the front garden. He headed towards the park, taking a turn down one of the roads that cut through the estate. Turning another corner, he stopped in his tracks when he happened upon one of his neighbours and a boy who went to the same school but in the year below, Adam Jones, a happy-go-lucky 14-year-old, sat on a wall holding a football. "Give me that," said Jake, not asking but simply taking the ball from Adam's grasp. He bounced the ball on the concrete, but it was near empty of air and hardly bounced back up at all. "That's dead," said Jake, kicking the deflated ball along the street. "Hey," said Adam, pulling his gaze away from the removal van across the road. "What you doing? It's not dead yet. Still a bit of life in that." "That ball is fucking dead, Adam," said Jake. "Balls aren't cheap, Jake. I'll get you one for cheap." Adam looked at Jake and frowned, before jumping down from the wall, fetching the ball and returning. "No thanks, Jake. I know what you mean by cheap," said Adam. "I'll take it to school and someone will accuse me of nicking it from them." Jake pushed Adam on the shoulder and he fell back against the wall. "Shut up, Adam," said the local bully. Adam had already shut up, and his gaze was once again on the goings-on over the road. "What are you looking at?" asked Jake. "New neighbours." "New neighbours?" echoed Jake with a shrug of his shoulders. "So what?" "There's a girl," explained Adam. "She's pretty, and she looks about my age." "Look at you, a right little Romeo," laughed Jake. "You wouldn't know what to do with a girl, even if she was interested in a skinny little runt like you." Jake pushed Adam again against the wall. "Where is she then?" asked Jake, looking over and seeing only a frail woman, quietly directing the removal men where to go. "I don't know," said Adam, stepping away to keep more than an arm's length between him and Jake. "Fuck this. Adam, come to the park with me," said Jake. "I've got a couple of cigarettes." Adam shook his head. "You know I didn't like that last one you gave me. It made me feel sick." "So we'll just play with matches for a bit then. We'll burn some stuff. You come in," insisted Jake. The young brute that resembled his father more as each day passed noticed the sparkle in the eye of his young neighbour and schoolmate, and so turned his gaze to see what was so interesting. The new girl had caught Adam's attention, and Adam was right to be impressed, thought Jake. She was pretty. "Hello, gorgeous," he yelled across the street. The young girl, Kate Brown, 14 years old, looked across the road and saw the two boys. A timid Adam took a step back, embarrassed, as Jake blew kisses across in her direction. She stuck up a middle finger and went back inside her new home. Adam shook his head in disappointment as Jake laughed aloud. "You coming then?" asked Jake, turning his attention back to an unimpressed Adam. "Nah, I gotta go home for my tea," replied Adam, stepping away. "I'll see you at school tomorrow." if you bother turning up." "You cheeky wanker," yelled Jake, before giving up on his plans on going to the park and returning home to be the man of the house. Love Blinded is now available on Amazon, ebook and paperback formats.